to unpack more of those events in the Limpopo province, we're joined by political analyst Elvis Masoga. Mr. Masoga, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. Look, it was never going to be as dramatic as what we're seeing in parts of Gauteng or even down in Port Elizabeth and Nelson Mandela Bay. But let's talk then a little bit about then the election of this new council in Polokwane. What are some of the big issues that they'll need to attend to?
Yeah, I remember one thing, Kathy, or maybe let me begin by passing my humble greetings to you, Kathy, and all the viewers of, your TV station. Maybe let me begin by saying that, as compared to other provinces where there's a conundrum of hung municipalities, but in Limpopo it seemed to be, a smooth sailing exercise because only two municipalities in the Limpopo are hung. All the other municipalities were won by the governing party, the ANC. So it was expected, even with regard to the municipality of Polokwane City, that it will be a smooth sailing for the ruling party, the ANC, because they got over 60% of the vote from that particular Polokwane municipality. So nothing dramatic was expected, absolutely, because where you expect drama or some theatrics is when there is a hung, result where none of the political parties, acquired more than 50% plus one. But in all the Limpopo municipalities, only two of them are hung. Polokwane and other municipalities, it will be a smooth sailing exercise for the ANC because they got, in all of them, actually even more than 60% of the provincial vote.
A lot of attention, of course, paid to what will happen in Mudimule Mokopane in terms of how that council is set to be constituted. Your own views?
Yeah, it's a very, not necessarily fascinating dynamic, but I would rather say an intriguing dynamic is that, in Mudimule Mokopong and Tabazimbi municipalities, it is not quite clear as to what kind of a coalition we are going to witness, because remember previously in the 2016 municipal elections, none of the political parties in Limpopo acquired more than 50% of the vote, but we had, coalition governments led by the Democratic Alliance. But I don't know what happened. It is quite clear that maybe the voters particularly in Tabazimbi municipalities, decided, to go for a different political animal. But I'm not quite sure whether will we have a coalition government led by the ANC or the DA in the two hung municipalities of Modimolle, Mokopong, and Tabazimbi. But as to now, I'm not able to smell the coffee. I can't throw the bones on the ground and predict as to what will be happening. But in all those municipalities, the ANC is a leading political party, even though it got below 50% of the vote.
It is precisely because of some of the factional battles within the ANC in these municipalities that they were unable perhaps to get the percentage of the votes that they have previously. How are you expecting that dynamic to play into whatever coalition agreements will ultimately be reached and the kind of decisions that the ANC will be making?
But I think maybe we need to focus on this very fascinating picture that has been created in those two hung municipalities. Like I said, after the 2016 municipal elections, the DA became charge of those municipalities. It was the leading political party in those coalition governments. But you ask yourself this important question. If the DA was the leading party in that coalition government, why did the voters in those two municipalities decided not to return the Democratic Alliance to the commanding seat? Because it says a lot about the kind of government that operated in terms of service delivery, because my understanding is that if voters decide to give you power because they were not satisfied with the previous leader, and you decide to provide services in the way that they satisfy them, definitely they will return you to office. But why did they fail to retain the Democratic Alliance into office? Does it mean that the voters were satisfied with the leadership that was provided by the DA, or maybe they've decided to go to a different political party. So I don't understand why exactly.
All right, that's where we leave it for tonight. Elvis Masoga is a political analyst.